Hey, Hare Krishna everyone, it's me, the old school monk. If you didn't already know, I was a real life monk for the past 5 years, and now I'm playing RuneScape, and this is going to be a little video about getting membership, so leaving the free worlds. I'm a free man in the free world! Leaving the free world and to go and train our prayer in a quicker way. So please, relax, breathe, and enjoy. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey guys, Hare Krishna, it's me, Ben XI, the old school monk, and I've had a lot of comments asking why am I afraid of upgrading to members, and the truth is not. And I'm meeting this guy, Nez NMZ, and he said that he would give me a bond so that we can get members, which is amazing. Thank you, Nez, and I'll bow down to him. Hare Krishna. But yeah, I put out a message a few videos ago saying that I'd be interested in training my prayer level to 99 in the game, and if any of the kind viewers would be interested in sponsoring Dragon Bones, that would be really cool. And actually it's very humbling, actually, the sacrifice that people made. A lot of people wanted to give really nice amounts. I'll try to put everyone's name on the screen now, and I'm sorry if I forgot your name. I try to take screenshots of everyone. But we managed to amass already as a community 204 million gold pieces. I thought this would be a nice opportunity to speak about a spiritual principle called Atara. There's a verse that goes, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha. And Atyahara means collecting more funds than required. And it's said that for spirituality, spiritual life, collecting too much wealth is actually a hindrance on the path. Yeah. So I've already got probably 5 million more than I need. Okay, lovely. Yeah, so if you have some kind of system of faith, then actually you accept that there's some sort of higher power that's looking after the universal order. And so with that, then you can faithfully only collect as much as you need. So we got this comment from Denny Gower, and he asks, how does the pursuit of monetary goals, driven by a desire to achieve financial freedom and escape society constraints, affect individuals and their overall well-being? It's really, it's quite an interesting question, because if you're anything like me, like, financial problems in real life are a sort of, they take up a large portion of our thought process, and also cause a lot of stress, pressure, anxiety, things like that, you know. Like, to actually acquire some sort of wealth seems like it would be a way to alleviate that anxiety. So in other words, we feel anxious because we haven't got enough money. So the concept of pursuing money to alleviate the anxiety seems like the kind of correct way to deal with the anxiety. But I guess what I can offer here is like a different perspective in terms of like kind of the Vedic texts. So when earlier in Varak Church we were talking about the principle of Atyahara. So, you know, like in nature, the birds and the beasts in the forest, they always are generally they're able to survive on what they need. So the common example is if you leave a big bag of grain in the middle of the street, the birds will come and they'll take 1 or 2 grains and then they'll fly off, be satisfied. But if a man comes across a bag of grains, he'll take that bag and put it in storage and hoard it for the future, you know. So I guess this is like the common mentality that a lot of us have is, okay, I need to collect as much money as possible and hoard it, so then I'll feel safe and secure. But the idea is that actually there's a higher power in charge of this universe that we live in. This is like the kind of spiritual perspective. There's a higher power. Some say Krishna, Allah, Yahweh. There's unlimited names for God, basically, but God's looking after his children. So the principle of only taking as much as is required is actually a powerful way to escape this anxiety, because one thing that my actual father was telling me very recently, he used to run a small business, and he was at one point very stressed about earning money for the business, and he put a lot of his attention and focus on the number. Okay, we need to get X amount of money for the business to be healthy, and it was stressing him out like anything. But what he did was that he shifted his focus. So instead of focusing on the amount of money that he needed, instead he focused on the systems that he needed to put in place in order to make the business run efficiently and to serve the people in the right way. So I thought this was quite a bit of wisdom coming out of my father. My father is not like a traditionally spiritual person, but he's a wise man. And so for us as well, it's like we could put a lot of attention on, okay, I need this number and I'll be happy. So in RuneScape terms, when I have max cash stack, then I'll be happy. or when I have this item, I'll be happy. But most of the time, when you get the amount that you're searching for, it's not enough to satisfy you, and then you're on to the next thing. It's always the case, you can never satiate yourself materially, like with material goods. You know what I mean? Like we have to look somewhere else for our sense of satisfaction than the number. So kind of using my dad's advice, okay, what's the processes that I'm doing? Like what is the activities that I'm taking part in? And by performing those activities, then the number takes care of itself. Do you know what I mean? So if we can focus on the way that we're living and the way that we're serving our society, the way that we're serving our family, the way that we're kind of being a good influence on those around us, then naturally the money is something that will take care of itself. Because when you think about living kind of a righteous life, like living in the right way, living in a moral and upstanding way, then when you do that, you're actually sort of falling in line with the flow of the universe. You could put it like that. Like in the Sanskrit terms, the word is you're living in line with Dharma. So to be dharmic means to be, the word Dharma means the intrinsic value of a thing. So like the Dharma of water is wet, the Dharma of fire is heat and light. And actually, the Dharma of us as human beings, as living entities, is to render service. It's the intrinsic quality of the living soul, and it's something that you can't escape. So if you're walking your dog, then you serve your dog by picking up his poop. You know what I mean? If you have children, you serve them by buying them clothes and food. If you have a boss, you serve them. You serve him. So like this is Dharma. So when we align with that principle and that kind of priority, okay, how can I render service to society? How can I offer some kind of value? If we focus on improving our service to society, even to our boss, then naturally the money's going to take care of itself. And then an important principle is that we shouldn't over-endeavour to collect more money than we actually need. So back to the conversation that we had about me accepting donations for a 99 prayer. So I did the calculations, and I need 200 million GP to get my prayer level to 99. And if you look here, we've got 204 million GP, so we're actually over by 4 mil. Let me examine this. Yeah, over by 4 mil. So this gold here is actually excessive. It's more than we actually need. But the tendency is, I speak for myself, people are private messaging me saying, would you like more gold to your prayer grind? Now, the tendency, the mind will say, yeah, go on, I'll take a little bit more gold. I'll take a little bit more gold. I'll take a little bit more gold. I don't know, if you were in the same position, I'm sure you'd take the same thing. Because I've never had, over like 300 mil on RuneScape ever. So this is the richest I've ever been by far. So the tendency is to collect more than necessary. But this is atyahara, like this is over collecting, and ultimately it will lead to misery, because there's enough. You heard Mahatma Gandhi always says it's enough for man's need, but not man's greed, and this is firmly true. So if we do happen to collect more than we require, then it's our duty to feed that back into society. So in other words, give that money back in charity. So this is Griffin. He was the one viewer that was in my first stream. So I wanted to give him a little thank you. You may be thinking like, okay, very well. It's a nice theory that there's a higher power, there's some sort of God in existence that's maintaining everyone. But I don't have that level of faith. I can't just surrender to the fact that everything's going to be alright. And to be fair, I'm not expecting you to have that faith if you don't have it. And I'm also not asking you to have that faith if you don't have it. We've all got to kind of interact with this world around us from the position that we're in. So if it's like a state of mind that you're interested in cultivating, do you know what I mean? Some kind of faith in a universal order, then the way you do that is by associating with persons who have more faith than you, and by sort of hanging out with them and listening to them, then naturally your levels of faith will increase. So for me, when I spent a lot of time in the temple, like when I was younger, I was completely atheist. Like there was obviously no God. Like it's just stupid, and we've got all of these scientifical explanations for the creation of reality and evolution and all of these things that we learn in school, and for this reason those who are religious are completely deluding themselves. I grew up in a completely like sort of secular fashion, meaning like secular means like no religious influence whatsoever. Like I know a lot of people in America, they'll naturally have maybe some sort of like Christian background, but a lot of times the Christianity that we see is not very encouraging, because it's like sometimes and definitely not all the time, but sometimes it's like a materialistic kind of spirituality. So the whole goal of worshipping God is to get some wealth out of it, you know what I mean? But really, like what we're trying to do is cultivate love. We want to love and we want to be loved. But anyway, that's like a little aside, but the point is, okay, everything's gonna be maintained for me. I'm gonna have enough money if I sort of have faith in Krishna or whatever this random RuneScape monk is saying. I don't buy it. I can't get it. Like and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to have the God thing, but the point that I'm trying to kind of get across is that when we collect more than we need, or we endeavor to collect more than we need, then it creates unnecessary stress and pressure. Like the old saying, keeping up with the Joneses. If you're a millionaire, then you naturally want to become a billionaire, but you don't need a billion. you don't even need a million, really. All we really need is like a little sort of like 6-foot area to sleep in, some food in our belly, and some friendship, some good relationships. Like really the main requirement is that, but we sometimes get lost chasing our tail, going for things that aren't necessary. And this happens also in RuneScape, like we're spending a lot of time grinding out, trying to get gold so that we can get this thing and the next thing. But maybe when you get that thing and you get your little dopamine hit because you've just got your max cape or you've got the piece of armor that you was craving, you get the little hit, but very quickly it becomes kind of just old, or just in another part of the account. So so maybe it would be better if we focused on kind of our attitude from day to day when we're playing, instead of like getting strung out on sort of goals in the future. Now I'm saying all this, and I'm about to contradict myself, because we do need to set goals in our life, and also we do need to work hard in order to make some money, you know, like yeah. So, and also one thing that I'm aware of is that when someone speaks about money, it can be quite a triggering subject, and I hope I'm not trying to trigger anyone or make anyone feel bad or anything. Like, I know what it's like to be like sort of stressed out about money, and it's not my intention to take you there, but I think it's interesting to talk a little bit about philosophy in relation to money. Even for me now playing RuneScape, the fact that I've got like 200 plus mil in the bank is totally mind-blowing. Like, as a child or as a teenager, if I had that much money in my bank, I would have absolutely lost my mind. But for me now, it's like, okay, this was a very kind gift from many RuneScapers, so that they could help me sort of get a goal of 99 prayer. But really, the money is not for me. Like, I'm not here trying to enjoy this 205 mil. It's not for my enjoyment, but actually it's a vehicle for me to be able to serve you guys, the listeners, by making this RuneScape content, because it's a platform that I can speak some spiritual wisdom that will hopefully help you get a little bit of perspective on the way that you approach this RuneScape, and also your greater life in general, because a lot of us get sort of stuck down rabbit holes, and we can't figure out which way is which. Speaking wholly for myself, you know what I mean? Like, I've watched a million like Iron Man Let's Plays and restricted accounts, and you know, for years and years and years I consumed this content. And I'm not criticizing that content, but as I said in the last message, in the last video, what we appreciate appreciates. So like, when we're watching stuff to do with RuneScape, then our consciousness becomes more and more absorbed in RuneScape. And I don't know about you, but whenever I got too absorbed in playing RuneScape, and I'm talking now, like, there was a time where I would sit down and play from the moment I woke up until I went to sleep. Do you know what I mean? Like, this, like 16-hour sessions, and I'd only get up to go and make a ready meal and crack open another can of Monster Energy. Or, you know, like, I've been in that position. And whenever you get down that rabbit hole, there's such a nagging feeling inside that this isn't good. Like, this isn't the right thing to be doing right now. That it can feel like you're a little bit trapped as well, you know, like that. So I really want to promote, like, okay, we can definitely play RuneScape in a more healthy way and use it as kind of a vehicle for us to elevate our perspective in terms of giving us a sense of routine and regulation, and changing the way that we approach all aspects of our life, you know. So it's interesting. So I was talking to a high level free-to-play player earlier. His name is Pause, and he makes some interesting videos, and we were discussing about sort of the idea of, you know, kind of quote unquote ruining a free-to-play account in order to train a different method, and I'm talking about like training prayer on a gilded altar. I guess we were kind of talking about how, you know, simplicity of the free-to-play game is very attractive. The methods take a little bit longer, and it's like almost like a nostalgic style version of the game. Although it's not exactly why we play it for nostalgia, there's that aspect. And I was just fascinated with playing with this idea of entering into the kind of members game, but with that idea, with that kind of mentality of simple, classical style of gameplay, and also kind of just the idea of playing the game kind of by your own rules, or by your own kind of, in your own style, in the way that you would sort of approach your real life kind of real life. But I know that for me, I've made a lot of art in the past, and I'm really interested in having little projects. I've made many different podcasts and creative kind of projects, and this concept that the way that we express ourselves in one medium is the same way as we express ourselves in other mediums. So for instance, like the way that I play piano, or the way that I would approach playing piano, is very similar to the way that I would approach making a painting, and that's similar to the way I would approach kind of making a drawing, or so like that. So like this idea of the way that we're kind of playing the game is an expression of our approach to life. It's kind of like all connected, and that's definitely with Hatha yoga, which is like one of the lower forms of yoga, meaning that like yoga is like a ladder, and it starts off at the gross. So Hatha yoga is concerned with looking after your body by doing certain asana, then that leads to more subtle forms of yoga, which are to do with controlling the breath, controlling the mind, and ultimately all of yoga culminates in Bhakti yoga. Bhakti comes from the word Bhaj, I think, which means love. So Bhakti yoga is the yoga of devotion, or the yoga of developing love for God and all of his creation type of thing. But with Hatha yoga, there's this concept of seeing the body as an entire unit that's all connected, because I guess like different exercises, you approach it in different ways. So if you're doing bodybuilding, a lot of times you'll do sort of movements which are focused on developing your bicep, so that you can grow a big bicep, but maybe you're not looking at the whole body as a complete system, or looking at it in the way that it connects and how it moves in a holistic way. So Hatha yoga is more concerned with, okay, my wrist is connected to my arm, my forearm, which is connected to my elbow, which is connected to my upper arm, connected to my shoulder. The whole body is a unit. So if we can learn to see the body in that kind of unit, then we're able to sort of develop our movement skills in a more holistic and healthy way. So I guess the purpose of my rambling about that is that I want to kind of express myself through this medium of RuneScape, so that you guys, the viewer can get kind of a insight into, I guess, the way I'm thinking and the way that I'm approaching life, and hopefully maybe you can resonate and connect to me on that level, and maybe be inspired in certain aspects. And it also is a way of keeping myself accountable also. It's like, okay, if I'm kind of taking a public position, which seems to be what's happening in this channel, like say for instance the last video that I uploaded, I put a picture of my face in the thumbnail. That was kind of nerve-wracking. I'm putting myself out there basically. When you put yourself out there, you're liable to be kind of judged, and at least liable to be held accountable. So like I'm representing kind of the ancient wisdom teachings in a completely unique space. There's not many Bhakti yogis or Hare Krishna practitioners that are sort of in this RuneScape video space. So I feel like I need to be accountable. So I guess a roundabout way of saying that I'm gonna, part of the way I approach this game is how I'm expressing myself, and I personally like the idea of keeping a simple mentality, but using modern techniques or more advanced techniques, and that's very much within the spirit of Bhakti Yoga. It's like, you think to be a yogi means that you need to kind of have no possessions and sort of become a sort of Luddite. If you guys don't know what Luddite means, you can look it up, but it basically means somebody who rejects advancements in technology. So I had a comment saying that, like, a true monk would not use the RuneLight plugin. A true monk would play like purely vanilla RuneScape. But actually, a big thing that we learn is a principle called Yukta Vairagya. Vairagya means renunciation, but Yukta means connected. So we renounce things that are not favorable to our spiritual life. We don't renounce things for the sake of renouncing them. So we renounce things which are not favorable, and we accept things which are favorable. So essentially, like, for me to play this game in a super click intensive manner, so if I was to get the 99 prayer skill on this game in a free-to-play game, I would need like 500,000 ashes, and that means I'd have to click them 500,000 times, and it would take me, 190 hours of clicking constantly for 190 hours to get a skill. And I'm into that on one level, but also, like, I have other things to do. I have other responsibilities and duties in my real life to sort of attend to. So instead of doing that intense method, I'm happy to sort of accept membership and use dragon bones on an altar as a means of sort of achieving the same end, which is kind of the meme of a guy that went and became a monk for 5 years, essentially getting 99 prayer in real life, coming back to the game and getting 99 prayer. I think that's just a funny meme, and we can all kind of agree on that level, right? So I'd rather sort of skip the click fest and just achieve the meme and move on. And I hope people understand that as well. So I guess we've kind of discussed a little bit. So maybe now is the time. Maybe now is the time that we ruin our free-to-play account and take membership. What do you say, guys? This is my kind of... I clear these out. This is our final stats in free-to-play. I'm quite happy with the way that looks. It's quite a high total level. We managed to get 101 combat. The Castle Wars boots. Collection log. 53 collection slots. 12 combat tasks. We didn't complete all the quests even. Shall we do it? Shall we ruin the account? If you got this far into the video, you got to write in the comments, account ruined, and also smash the like. Bond pouch. So I got 3 bonds for 45 days worth of membership. I think for now we'll just get 1 bond. Okay, so let's do it. Let's ruin the account. 3, 2, 1. Wait, I'll take the screen marker away. I don't know where. That's been there the whole video. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh, here we go. Account ruined in the comments. Sending. Right, this is taking way too long. Oh no. I'm sorry to all of the free-to-players out there. It's game over.